Rogan would say. Welcome to the Sustainable Happiness Podcast. Today, I am speaking with Ange Alex. She is an author, motivational speaker, and teacher, and I'm so excited to speak with her. I actually read a little bit of one of her books and then the entire of her children's book. That one I was able to read in a day. So, Ange, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
Yes, I'm excited to get to know you. So just so the audience knows, this is the first time we're talking. We don't even know each other. We met on Facebook.
Yep.
And so you're going to get just like the raw scene of two people meeting and us getting to know each other. And it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it is.
So, Ange, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm 42 years old, which I'm extremely proud of. I tell everybody how old I am all the time.
Because you look like half your age, right?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Is that why? You're like, yeah, well, actually, I'm 42. So
I know. It's always like a big woohoo for me because I do get carded sometimes and I'm like, do you know I could be your mom? But it's just really fun. I work really hard to nurture myself and care for myself. So it's always great when it's, appreciated, I guess. But so 42, I'm a mom of 3 teenagers. And my husband, myself, and our 3 teenagers have traveled the country in an RV for 5 years, adventuring and exploring. Wow. It's been quite an adventure for sure. And I also really enjoy sharing my stories about my life, what I've been through, what I've overcome, where I've come to this understanding of happiness and what happiness is. I really enjoy meeting new people, telling them that my story, also kind of walking them through this whole idea I have about us being these big balls of yarn, all woven together with other people's opinions and thoughts and ideas and our parents' dreams and our parents' fears and everything all balled up into one, and how as we get older it's crucial to pull that apart, unravel, and find out who we truly are. That's really the only way we'll find happiness. So that's really me in a nutshell. I'm just a little ball of adventure, I guess.
Oh my God, I love it. Like, I just felt like if you were on a dating video and I just watched you, like my heart just totally fell for you. I'm like, my eyes are like watering. I'm like, I love this woman. Like, this is so amazing. I literally were just meeting and I'm like,
oh, thank you. Thank you.
I love her.
Much.
Okay. Literally my eyes are like watering. So wait, go back with the kids. How many kids do you have? How old are they?
I have 3. I have 3 teenagers. I have a 17 and a half-year-old daughter who's an artist. Yeah, she's amazing.
Oh, yeah, I know. I think you told me that before, but I'm just like, how?
Yeah, I know. That's so funny. I have a 15-year-old son and a 13-year-old son, and my daughter's the one that illustrated the children's book, and the illustrations in the other book also. So she's been an artist for a very long time. But
I was wondering literally that this morning when I was reading it. I was like, did she pay someone to do this? Did she do this herself? And now I remember you told me your daughter was an artist.
Yes, she did that.
Yeah, they're really great. I love them. In the yarn, I was paying attention to how she made these yarn beads, and she put one line to give it emotion, and one line to give it eyes, and one line to give it a mouth. And I was like, how did she?
I know.
Do this shading and this like 3D texture where there's not even eyes on this yarn doll, and I know exactly how it feels.
I do too. It actually gives me chills when I think about it because
I
just told her she's just like gifted. Like, she's been like this. This was who she was. This was totally her purpose in life, create art. So I didn't want to with both books that she's illustrated for me, I didn't want to really guide her in it. I wanted to see what she created. I just told her, look, here, I want a little yarn person. This is the scenario or whatever. Or, we wrote the children's book, and she knew each part of the book what it was going to be, and I just let her create it, and each time it was better than anything I could have ever imagined. I could never
Yes.
have imagined like the yarn people like that, with the feeling and the emotion, and like even the ones that are sad, you can feel their sadness. The ones that are happy, the one that's knitting herself back up with love. I mean, that is just like, it gives me chills because it's just so perfect. And then the children's book, you know, the little Bees Me Bee is his name,
Oh,
and
yes.
she made him. Like, I didn't tell her he needs to look like this, or this. Like, she created him, and I just adore him so much.
Oh, yes. Excuse me. Yeah, I read that entire story to my nieces and nephews.
How'd they
And
like
so
it?
they're 3 and 5. So I will say the language was a little above their head.
Above there, yeah.
But the pictures were great. So we
Yeah.
just like kind of focused on like, which is like why illustrations are really great. It's like, oh, well, he doesn't fit in, but you have to be
Yes.
yourself. So like the words were a little above them, but the pictures were really helpful. And it was really helpful because they just had, it's a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and then my sister just had a newborn. And
Oh,
so the
wow.
newborn, they're having this like jealousy thing happen. Like they don't
Yeah.
know, who are they? Like, who are they in the family? So like the youngest one was the baby, right?
Of
And then the oldest
course.
one was used to that. So now there's a new baby, so they're like rearranging their identity. Like you
Yeah.
said, that whole like, you're the big sister. She has
Mhm.
to start knitting that into her identity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, oh, I'm
Absolutely.
a big sister. I have to take care of things now. I'm not just the little sister.
The little one. Yeah. That's a really
Yeah.
hard time. That's a really hard time because all three of
She is
mine, I
having
had,
a hard time with it.
yeah, I had them all back to back. So my daughter was 3.5, and then I had a 17-month-old, and then I had a newborn. So I had like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, like literally no sleep for 3 years. But
Yes.
it was like so hard to navigate from being, just from a mother's standpoint. I can imagine. Is this your sister or your brother?
Yeah. My
Your
older
sister, your
sister.
actual sister. Okay. Yeah. So I know what she's going through, and like, you know, what, you're a mom of one, then you're a mom of two, now you're a mom of three, and it's like total chaos. And then each of
Yes.
your children have to go through this adaptation of who they really, of who they are, and they don't even know yet because they're still tiny. So they're getting their cues from us, and they're trying to see where they fit now. And I think oftentimes the one that was the baby that is now not the baby, the middle one, is kind of sometimes very confused, you know, because being the baby was a big identity. And now you're not the oldest, you're not the youngest, you're just in the middle. And there's something still so perfect about that. And I think that's what's important for children to understand too, that whatever phase they're at in their lives, and whoever, you know, they are at that moment, it's important to just be comfortable being yourself, and whatever that
Yeah.
means. If it's the fact that, you know, a month ago you were the baby and now you're this amazing big sister, then that's who you are, you know, embrace it and be it. And it'll always change. I mean, you're always, as you go through life, you're always going to change. You're always going to become something else or do something else. And it's so important to not necessarily cling to those labels, but to cling to who you are, your true self, you know, your worth.
Yeah. Yes. And you speaking, like you're speaking to adults now, so it's really easy to hear that and understand. But like just putting myself in the shoes of a 3-year-old, it could be a lot. It could take a lot
Oh
longer
gosh.
to
Yeah.
absorb that new identity. And so I think maybe because the newborn is 3 months now, and so it's gonna take maybe I think like 6 months or longer
Or longer. I
yeah,
mean, because,
to
you
have
know,
her because she's 3, so she has like this brain that is just like, biologically it has all of the wirings possible,
oh
like,
yeah. Yeah.
so she
I,
she can't she has the ability to be both.
yeah. Yeah. I think it's just, you know, it's always a process, and you can't expect every child to respond the same or act the same, or even you know, understand that this sort of information. Like I said, I'm 42 years old, and I'm
Yeah.
just now really digesting the information about myself and my worth and my wonder
Are
that
you
is
a middle
me.
child?
I was a baby. I was a baby.
Oh, okay. I'm a
Yeah.
baby too.
Are you?
Yeah, a 4.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm
So
like the super baby.
Yeah, so my dad was previously married, so he had 2 kids before, and then he had 2 kids with my mom. So I guess I'm the baby of 4 technically, but I didn't really know my older brother and sister very well. But
Yeah, so
yeah,
I had to recover from some complexes of being like a crybaby and like, you know,
oh
being strong, even though I'm like sensitive and small and younger and mature
yeah,
faster. You know what I mean? Like grow up, be like everyone else, but you're like,
yeah.
5 years behind. So
Right. Well,
yeah,
that's like part of that stitching in us that is actually false and completely fabricated because you were made to be sensitive if that's who you are. And the same thing happened to me. My dad used to try to toughen me up all the time because I'm an extreme empath. I feel everybody's feelings, and there's a reason for that because I'm able to feel other people's feelings, and in return, I'm able to offer them some sort of comfort because I understand where they're coming from, or at least I can feel what they're feeling. So I was never made to not be sensitive, but for my father, it was uncomfortable for him that I was so sensitive. So he would try to toughen me up when I was a kid, and they would like I'd go to the bathroom at dinner time, and I'd come back, and my plate would be missing, and I was like 4 or 5 years old, and I'd start to cry because it was like I knew they took my food, but it was like they thought it was funny, and then my dad would be like, you gotta toughen up out there. It's a hard world, and you can't be so sensitive. And it was like that
yes,
constant,
yeah, of course,
you know,
same, yeah,
which it
same,
sounds like you probably heard the same thing. Don't be so
yeah,
sensitive, toughen up. And that's actually
yeah.
like the worst advice we can give our children.
I
You are who
know.
you are, and as a parent, I don't fault my parents at all because how did they know? They didn't know. They thought he thought he was doing something to help me. He thought that it would help me more in life if I was tough and not so sensitive. So all these things we do out of love, but they're not necessarily the right things, and we don't realize that until later. So if we can
Yeah,
start to learn and start to open this dialogue up and talk to people like you and I are talking about what works and what doesn't work, I
yeah.
think and naturally we will evolve to understand these things more, and future generations won't hear things like toughen up, and things like that.
Yeah, and as your book said, those things worked for him when he was a child because
Absolutely.
he had to toughen up because it was a different time. So he had to be 14 years old and find food and money for the family. And
Yeah.
like well, actually, I had to as well. But
Yeah. Yeah.
the thing about the emotions is just you don't have to hide your emotions as much. You can still that's the thing I really want to say is like you can still make it in life. You can still be successful and be sensitive.
Absolutely.
Because I thought like so I purposely put my hair up because I normally have it down, but I wanted to unravel it for you
Oh, I
because
love
your book's
it.
named Unravel. And
Yeah.
the like I always so I would think like, oh, I need to be all pinned up, like that's who I thought my identity needed to be my entire life. And just recently I'm like, it's okay, you can let your hair down a little bit.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
actually you can let your hair down all of the way,
You
because
can.
any point that you're holding is tension in your body, is tension in your soul. Why don't you let yourself be free?
Yeah.
Who, like, who is restricting you
Mhm.
except for you?
It's only you. Yeah. Yeah. You are the keeper of the strings. So
So,
you
like,
can.
I really love my hair down. I usually had it up, like, always. And then it would make, it'd give me some, like, headaches. When you have your
Oh
hair
yeah.
tight, it,
The
like,
same way.
gets
Yeah.
all up in here. So then now when I have it down, it just feels like I'm into chakras, and it feels like my crown chakra can be more open. I can be more receptive to
Yeah.
things. And my life can be more abundant of not of like love and nature and ideas and creativity and inspiration.
I love that.
um but when I'm all pinned up, I already know what I know. I already need to go where I need to go.
You're right.
I know
You're
what
closed
direction
off.
I need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
even realize I was closed minded or closed off. I didn't even realize it
Right. Right.
until.
But that's how it goes in life is like I can look back at so many different points in my life and think, oh my gosh, why did I like, how did I not see this, or how did I not do this? But we're only at certain points in our consciousness, at certain times, at whatever level we're able to accept. So like if you think all this knowledge and information that surround us in the universe, if we aren't at that level to accept it or understand it, then how would it present itself to us? So we're always at the exact moment we're supposed to be at, each step learning, each step growing. So I always think, instead of looking back and thinking, oh man, I should have known better, I didn't. The fact is I do now, and I can change the way I view things. I can change my perspective, and hopefully, because I do that, maybe other people can follow suit in the collective consciousness of accepting this love movement, and operating out of love instead of fear, because that's really the only dynamic we have here in the world, is either fear or love. So
Yeah,
most of us,
I agree.
yeah, most of us have been, not, with, for lack of a better word, programmed to operate in fear. And it starts when we're kids, out of love. Our parents love us so much
Yeah.
that they don't want anything to happen to us. So they scare the crap out of us to not do these things,
Yes. Yes.
they don't want to feel what it feels like to lose
I
something they love.
train puppies.
Oh.
And the parent is very visible of like, oh no, I don't want it to run out in the street and get run over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have to, it's all about trust,
Yeah.
especially with the dog, right? You have to train it to a certain point, but you have to trust it. And it reminds me of children, right? You have to train them to a certain point of like, that car will run you over and you will not be here anymore, right?
Right.
That fire is hot. You have to train them. But sometimes, like with the dog on the, like right now it's going to be like 104 degrees outside.
Yeah.
So you can't walk your dog on black concrete. They will burn their paws. Some people don't know this, and I feel really bad for all the dogs out there today.
Oh yeah, me too.
But the ones who do, the dog will and sometimes I feel like as humans we need to do that.
Yeah.
We see it, we know it's hot, but sometimes we need to singe and be like, all right, I need that time to heal now, to realize this is not where I want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Pain is like a powerful teacher, for sure. I think, unfortunately, so many of us only learn our lessons the hard way. And that's for me. I think about my personal growth in my life. So much came from what I would term hardships or tragedies, versus the times when everything's all perfect. It's just so much more meaningful when it hurts a little bit. You get the point, you get the picture. Like, you're not going to go walk outside when you
need the balance.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the beautiful thing, is once you've crossed that one point of understanding something and seeing something for what it is, you can't go back. So you view everything is viewed differently. So you're taking all of those lessons that you've learned along the way and bringing them with you into this. Now it's a new day. It's a new adventure. It's a new opportunity to learn new things. And yet you have all of this past experience that you're bringing with you. And for me, that's what's such a beautiful thing about life and getting older. People dread getting older. People look upon it as it's like something to be so afraid of. And I remember, like, I couldn't even imagine what it would have been like to be 40 when I was about 16. It was like, oh my God, old. And I'm 42, and it's like, wow, I'm just a better version of myself. I don't
at
feel
16,
old.
right?
What?
Yeah, like you feel like a better 16-year-old.
100%.
Right? Like every year you just got like to be a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
You're like, wait. Like that 16, I didn't really like that. Like, I want to change this. And like, I want to do that. I want to pivot here or whatever.
Yes. And confidence. Like, there's a certain amount of confidence that comes with aging. And I think that's so beautiful for women, because oftentimes, as women, we tend to put ourselves last. And especially as we get older and we have children, our children become our priority, and we sacrifice ourselves in order to do what we think is best to nurture and raise our children. And the next thing you know, 15 years have passed and you don't really know who you are anymore. And this happens, I see this so many times with women over 40 is, you know, they had their kids in their early 20s. Now they've reached 40 and their kids are either, you know, teenagers or off, you know, to college, and they're empty nesters now. And they're like, I don't know who I am
Oh,
anymore.
yes.
You know, I have no
yes,
idea.
They gave themselves completely over
yeah,
to the kids. And so they were, at first they were a 5-year-old, and then they were a soccer person, and then they were a PTA mom, and then they were a brownie mom. Like, that's who they were. They had an identity every single year for their child, but they forgot to leave a portion of that of I'm still blank. Like, I'm still Nixie. Like, I'm Nixie, or I'm Angie, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just like, I'm Angie, but then I'm also Angie the mom, Angie the sister, Angie the daughter, Angie the whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, there's a pie of these identities we have, like the knits, you know, that we maybe like it's a shelf of different dolls that we knit, or different hats maybe we put on.
Yes. Yeah.
Different costumes that we wear or something, roles that we take.
Yeah, for sure. And each one is important and each one is a part of us. But I think it's like so crucial to reconnect with ourselves. And that's kind of what I do in terms of work when I work with people. Is that is like the number one focus is reconnecting with yourself. Your identity isn't in your titles. Your worth isn't in your titles. It's not, you know, the fact that I'm a mom, or, you know, I do this, or I do that, or I have a house, or I have this. It's like all that stuff is subject to change. What isn't subject to change is you, your true self, your complete, beautiful, worthy self. And when we start to tune back into that and listen to ourselves, and become a little more selfish in a sense, then we can start to open up this world of caring outside of us. Because when we care for ourselves, we in turn are going to care for other people. That's just how it works. We're all connected. So I think that as we get older, it's crucial to tune back into ourselves. If people can do it when they're younger, I applaud them. I wasn't one of those that was able to do that. It took me a lifelong journey of doubting myself to be able to then understand the words I could speak to myself and tell myself it's okay, I'm worth it. All of that was for this point, you know? So to tune back into ourselves is really the biggest thing I can tell people when it comes to happiness. You are your soul guide. You know all the answers to all the questions that you have. It's all right there. You just need to tune back in and listen to yourself. And this goes for like health and nutrition as well. I have a background in nutrition, and that was the big thing I would tell people is listen to your body. Your body knows when you're hungry. It knows when you're full, and that's
funny you said that, because right when you're saying that, I'm like, I'm kind of hungry.
Yeah, exactly. See, you know when you're hungry.
Right before you said that, and I was like drinking my tea, I was like, I think I need some food. Like, I'm not just thirsty.
Yes,
but
so you know,
when you said you had to go through all these years of pain, when I'm consulting, so I actually coach young women who are like 14, 15, 16 years old, and they are going through this, what like my older women who are in their 30s and 40s going through, they're both going through at the same time. And it's like this universal collective consciousness, feminine power. I don't know what is going on, but we're all on the same page at the same time. It's amazing. My moms, my sisters, my young clients, my older clients, we're all on the same page of this self-growth, self-love, just this enlightenment, awakening phase of just like ascending to your best self, but also the self-love. When you said like, when you take care of yourself, you naturally take care of others. And that is something I think is a big misconstruct in our American society, at least. I'm not sure of other societies, that in our American society is that selfishness is defined as bad, and that even laziness is defined as bad, but we'll get into that later. But selfishness is defined as bad, but you're right. When I take care of myself, when I take 2-3 hours in the morning to have my herbs, to have my meditation, to have my stretch, to have my walk before I start giving my energy back to the world. There's left and right, receive and give, right? You need to be able to receive the abundance, receive the love, receive your own love, circulate your own love back over you, because you're so used, as women, I feel that we're so used to flowing out and taking care of everything and everyone around us, you know, everything is our child. I wrote in my journal as a child, I was like, I don't want to have children because I already feel like everyone is my child. I was the youngest in my family, but I felt like I was the bright, like the lightest, the most love-filled one, because I was the most sensitive one. And so I felt like I have to take care of all of them. And I still, like, throughout my career, I'm like, I was the first one to graduate college. I was the first one to, you know, have my own business, all this stuff, because I felt like I was born into this role of taking care of others. But but throughout that process, I forgot that I had to take care of myself, and I became
we all do,
sick. And then, you know, got these autoimmune diseases, and I noticed that many women have autoimmune diseases. And that's just them which means you're fighting against yourself. That's what it means. Autoimmune. Like you're just hurting yourself. You have to take care of yourself first.
You have to.
And you can give out. So like I was trying to say, like selfishness is misdefined in our culture.
It is. That is something that has been on my mind and in my heart for a while now, is this misconception of selfishness. And I had done this workshop related to health. It's called Unravel Your Health. So it's the principles of unraveling, but it's a health focus. And the first part of that is learning to be selfish, learning to take time for yourself, learning to love yourself enough that you're going to say, no, I can't do that right now because I need to do this for myself. And in return, what happens, it goes against everything that you've ever been taught, you know, but what happens then is you filled yourself up so much to the point that you're overflowing. And when you can overflow, that's when you're going to help other people. You're not going to help other people when you're empty. I mean, that's like, I mean, the blind leading the blind. But when you're overflowing and you're able to spill out this love because you've spent all that time loving yourself, then that's when the change can happen. And that's when, you know, true miracles take place. So that's the biggest part that I tell people, is like trying to wrap your head around the fact that it's okay to care about yourself, you know? And that, I remember, I'll never forget this one lady that was in the workshop. She came to me and she said, like, as she was reading that one part in the workbook, it was like, the biggest aha, because she had spent her whole life being a caregiver. Her son had autism, her mother had dementia, and between the two of them, all she did every day was care for other people. And so her health suffered. Her health suffered drastically. She was not in a good place physically, emotionally, or mentally. And when she read that part, it was like she hated it because she knew it was true. But she also had that feeling that we have in our society that you shouldn't be selfish. You should come last, and you should put everybody else first. And I think that is
like wrong. Take care of yourself 1 hour on Sunday, you get one bath.
Exactly. Self-care Sunday, and we're all going to be okay.
And on my page, literally on my Nixie wellness page, so I have this whole thing I'm building, right? This whole brand on my Nixie wellness page. I have a video, and I was watching. I'm doing my marketing, and that's my number one video. It says "Fuck Self-Care Sunday." Yeah, it's got way more hits and comments and anything else, and people understand it's not about Self-Care Sunday. It's every single breath that you take. You need to put yourself first, and it's not selfishness. Is not bad.
It's not bad.
Say, no. I can't put myself first because my autistic son is screaming right now, Nixie. Yes, you can. It's called a breath. Literally, you have the privilege to breathe. And when you go into that situation with one more breath than you were going to take without it, you will handle that situation better. It will go more smoothly. It will be more efficient. Like, this is,
Yeah,
it's ancient knowledge coming
yes.
down
It
to
is.
us
It
to
is.
give
And
to you.
it's hard. It's like a hard concept to start to wrap your head around. But once you start to embrace it,
It is.
you'll see how it does affect everything, because you've cared for yourself. Um, you have no idea what sort of inspiration that's going to spark in other people, or in people in your own family. Like you got up early and you took the time to go on a walk and clear your mind and let the creative energies flow, and now you're in a good place. So now how you approach your family is going to be a little bit different. Maybe how you approach your husband's going to be a little different. Maybe you won't argue, or maybe your kids, won't wear on your nerves,
Yes.
or whatever it is that people
Yes.
have to deal with. It's like, when you care for yourself, you're setting yourself up for a more clear, peaceful path than you
Yes.
would if you're just like, oh, you're like at the whim of the world, and all these things are thrown at you, and it's like you're
Yes.
out of control. But in reality, you're just supposed to go with the flow anyways, and the flow is
Yes.
supposed to be good, but
Right.
you've got to nurture that and take care of it. And I've seen it firsthand. My best friend, she actually has two boys that are autistic, and her life has been dedicated to them, and oftentimes her health suffered because of it. Now they're
Mhm.
older. They're One of them's almost 18 now, and the other is 14. And she's able to embrace the idea of being
Mhm.
selfish again. And she
Mhm.
started this year to really start to care about herself. And she transformed herself physically, emotionally,
Wow.
mentally, and in return was able to give more um, love and time to her
Yes.
boys. And it's
Of
funny because,
course.
the common excuse is, well, I don't have time to take care of myself. I've got children. I don't have time to do that. But what happens when you care for yourself is, all of a sudden you actually find that you do have more time to do that.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
weird how that happens.
It is so weird, because that's exactly what I thought too when I took took my space. I'm like, well, I'm gonna
Yes.
take my space. I'm
Yep.
gonna take my time. But
Yeah.
then I wake up in the morning at sunrise. No one else is even awake.
Yeah. I
No
do
one
the
else
same.
even cares that I'm
Yep.
up for an hour before them, enjoying my time all
Yes.
alone, doing
Yep.
whatever I want.
Yep. That's
If
exactly
I-
how I am too. It's like, I'm not taking away from them. I'm up early. They're all still sleeping. I enjoy my coffee. I go on a walk, or I work
yeah,
out. I do all of
yeah,
this stuff for me.
yeah.
And
We
by the
texted
time
this
they wake
morning.
up, yeah, by the time they wake up, I'm like, good to go, and none the wiser,
Yes, 100%. Yeah, and even I'm so proud of my sister, because she'll do the same. When she's got those
Good.
3 babies,
That's
and then her
hard.
husband, luckily, so
Yeah.
she'll have sometimes she'll be
Yeah.
Superwoman and get that hour in the morning, that
I love it.
magical hour to go run
Yes.
in the park, or
Yes.
make herself her own smoothie. And
Yeah.
so when everyone wakes up in the morning, she's like, okay, I had my
Uh-huh.
peace. I'm ready to
Exactly. Yep.
I am ready to embark on the journey.
I love it. I love it. That is, I used to tell people that was how I functioned as a mom, was waking up like an hour, maybe sometimes earlier, but at least an hour before my kids, and taking that time to just center myself. It was like, it was as if I likened it to like setting my compass. Like I was on a path and I had my compass and it was pointing in the right direction. I might not necessarily stay on that path during the day because obstacles are going to come about and things are going to happen, but I have set my course and I am lined up the right way. And anything that happens to me, I can approach it through love and compassion, as opposed to just, I mean, I can't imagine what kind of mom I would have been if I didn't take that time for myself, to be honest with you. That was how I survived all those
Well,
years.
you're still a mom.
And I'm still a mom. I'm still a mom. They're teenagers, so they don't need me as much anymore. So I'm kind of at that point where that's also
Let's
coming.
not let that go. Sometimes they may need you more than ever, though.
Yeah.
You
Oh, they
know?
know. We're all very close. I mean, we travel in a 300 square foot house all
Yeah, I
together,
want
you
to get
know?
into that a little bit more. Wait,
Yeah.
300 square feet. Well, that's like almost the size of my apartment. So that must be a really big RV.
Well, right now, this one is a 36-foot long Class A one, which is the kind that look like a bus, and it has a little
Oh,
slide out. So
wow.
we got a little
Wow.
extra room, but we did travel for 2 years in a 24-foot small Class C one. We drove that one from Florida all the way to Alaska for my 40th birthday. So that was
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, so we also go into career and business. And I
Yes.
want to know, how do you, like you and your husband and 3 teenagers,
Yes.
how do you do it? Like, how do you make money for food and gas and maintenance?
Yes.
Like,
So
do you sit somewhere? Do you like pay rent in one of those places where an RV goes? Like, do you go to different state parks? What is the logistics of
yeah,
if
it
someone really wants
varies.
to get into it?
Yeah, I think it varies. This is like probably the best year for people who are interested in getting into RVing is this year because so many people's businesses have found that they can work remotely and they don't
Yeah,
have to go into the office. So when we started this years ago, my husband and I have always owned our own businesses. So we've had entertainment magazines. I've been a photographer. He's built websites and done graphics. He's a musician. So we've always had like our hands in all these little things going on to kind
and
of
they're
just,
successful.
yes,
You save your money.
yeah, yeah. And then I also really believe that like our main purpose in this reality that we're in is to chase our joy, find happiness, chase the good feelings, and know that
Yeah.
when you're doing that, you're in alignment and the universe is going to take care of you. So I don't stress, oh my God, where's my money going to come from? Or how I better get on doing this. Or I just don't stress about it because at 42 years old, I've always been taken care of. I've always had everything I need when I need it. So I
Yeah.
mean, that's not just going to magically stop now. I know that, that's always going to be the way it is. That's the cycle of the universe. So for us, having these little things that we can do was very helpful. But again, now so many people know that they can work remotely and they don't have to stay in one place. So for us, when we left, my husband freelanced for a company doing all their website stuff and their graphic stuff. So we had that set when we headed out on the road. And we had a little Verizon wireless jetpack we took with us, and we had Wi-Fi wherever we went, and we just went around the U.S. We'd stay in. Sometimes we'd stay in RV resorts. Sometimes we'd stay at state parks or national parks, and sometimes we'd stay what they call boondocking, which is staying for free on like BLM land, like the Bureau of Land Management has tons and tons of acres across America that you can go and stay for free for usually up to 14 days at a time. And
What? See, this is what I want to know.
yeah. So I mean, out west, like in Arizona and New Mexico and Utah, Colorado, all that area out there, tons of land of BLM land, and you can just Google BLM land, and it'll show you where it is.
So can you go and park somewhere?
Yes.
They tag you, kind of like chalk your wheels, sort of thing.
No, it's all done on like a honest, integrity based system. Nobody comes and checks you in. Nobody does anything.
So you can camp there for months.
You can. I mean, technically, you're only supposed to stay for 14 days, but you can leave and go to another location and then go back. And I mean, if you have an RV that has a generator or solar power, you're self-contained anyways, so you don't need to be hooked up to electricity. You can just go and be. And we've done that a lot, especially like there's a good bit of BLM land in Arizona, and up near Sedona is one of my favorite areas. And you can just go. I'll never forget the first time we did it. We rolled out there in our RV, found a little spot. They're almost like already set up little campsites, and some of them even have fire pits and everything already there. And you just park there totally free, and you can camp out, you can cook out. And the first time we did that, the next morning there was a big hot air balloon. I guess I don't know, maybe a race or something, but I just remember waking up with all those big red rocks all around me and all these beautiful hot air balloons floating above. It was like, it was
Oh my
magic.
God.
It was
Postcard.
magic. Yeah, I love it. So I always tell people, if they're interested in getting into the RV lifestyle, it's not for everybody. I know that 100%. It's extremely hard. You're always sacrificing something in order to do something you want. So you sacrifice your hometown and your friends and all that stuff that you used to have. You still have them, of course, and you can roll back through those towns. But if it's something that you really want and you're up for the adventure, I found it to be extremely rewarding because we've circled the U.S. 3 times over. I've seen the Grand Canyon 4 or 5 times, and it's like each time it's still amazing. But I know full well that I'm living a lot of people's dreams, and I don't take it for granted. It's extremely meaningful for me to be able to live this life and to tell people about it.
You have like a blog or something?
We used to blog about it. What happened with us was that we had a magazine and a blog for many years in Atlanta, and it was a job. It was born out of love, and it became an actual job. And the magazine was in print every month, and we had people that worked for us, and it became like just a chore.
Like the RV lifestyle.
Oh no, this was about entertainment. Yeah, this was an entertainment magazine, but when we first initially started the RV life, that's what we were going to do. We were going to blog about it and write about it. And
like a magazine.
I didn't want it to become like a chore. I just wanted to live my life and enjoy my life. So that was kind of why we didn't really publicize it for many years. This is going on our 5th year. And I just wanted it to be our life. I just wanted it to be special with me and my children. And I remember my husband and I watched this video one time of a couple that did full-time travel, and they did videos all the time. And they were I think they were in Mexico, and the dad was like doing a video at a table, and the kids were playing, and the one son came up and said, "Dad, come play with me in the ocean." And the dad's like, "Oh, I'm busy. I'm doing this video." And the kid was like, "Dad, you come in the ocean, we can do this and it'll make a great video." And the dad was like, "Oh, okay." And it just broke my heart when I saw that. I was like, I don't want my kids to think that like
you're only living for content.
Yeah, exactly. Like that turned me off.
It's such a bad, it's a thing that's going on right now. Like you see the kids TikToking and they're only dancing for other people. They're not dancing for their spirit. They're not dancing to feel the music. Yeah. They're not dancing for joy.
Yeah.
They're dancing for
other people. Yeah. Which is
they're
still,
dancing
you're
for
still
attention.
in the trap. Like it's still a trap.
Ego.
It's still this, I call it the happiness trap. Like you're putting off your happiness on something else. So it's a big trap for people.
Either I think it's false happiness too. Because you're like, well, and you'll defend it too. You're like, well, I was dancing, so of course I'm having fun. Like, look at me, I'm smiling, I'm dancing. Look at me in that video. Of course I'm having fun, and I like getting the likes. Ha ha ha! Look how many I got. 10,000 likes. That's what's fun. But it's just all ego. Yeah,
the happiness that they claim they have right then would fade pretty quickly if they got about 20,000 dislikes. They wouldn't be like, "Oh, that was fun. I was having a great time." They would probably not feel so good. And
there you go. There's the other side of the coin.
Exactly.
Well,
I mean, that's another reason.
That's like you're living, like you said, you're living for other people. So if other people don't like you, then you don't like yourself.
Yeah, your worth is still tied up in somebody other than yourself. And that's
so it's like every day it's like, do they like me? Do they not like me? Do I like me or do I not like me? Every day on Instagram, I had to delete. I'm a victim of that. I had to delete my own Instagram. Every few years, I'd come up with a new name and a new title, like how I introduced you, author, motivational speaker, teacher. But you're like, well, yeah, those are titles. Those are things we have to have in society, right? But that's not who you are.
No.
You know what I mean? We see your soul here. We see who you are in the world, what impact you make, right? Yeah. Our titles are not who we are. But I feel like on Instagram, on TikTok, on Snapchat, everyone asks me when I'm on Facebook, they say, "What's your Instagram?" And
Yeah.
I deleted it because every year I'd come up with this thing, like I'm a co-founder, I was in Forbes, I was
Yeah.
this, I was that, and I was caught up in
Oh,
that. Like,
yeah.
well, that's what gives me work because I was there. So that's who I am.
Yeah.
But it's like, let me just pin back my hair and pop my collar because that's who you are. But it's like, people, I think that's a problem in society now. That's what people used to want when we were younger, and they wanted political correctness. Now that Trump came out, now that the truth has unfolded, everyone's like, wait a minute, I don't want this fake shit anymore. Who are you? Like, that's why I asked you those real questions. And I'm so thankful, I'm so grateful that you gave us those real answers of this is what we do, this is what life is. I don't want to do it for content. Like, this is, I just want to freaking love my life, love my kids, enjoy my life. This is the only experience I have.
Yeah.
Like, if you've ever been near death or you've ever been really sick for a really long time and stuck in bed, you have no experience. Like, your experiences are just like wake, sleep, pain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or no sleep, just pain.
Yeah.
And you're awake and your mind is going. And it's just like, if you want, I've been there, and that's why I love life so much. Is because I have this disease that I have to manage.
Yeah.
And if I don't love my life, my disease literally kills
Gets
me.
worse. Yeah. Yeah.
I will die. I will progressively die unless I unless I live in joy.
Yeah.
I don't need to like get happier. That was another trap I was in. Was like, oh, there's like another level of happiness. I need to reach that level.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I want you to go into what's actually that level is unraveling, is undoing, like, what you've been convinced is what's going to make you happy.
Yes. And it's a constant process. I mean, like I said, I'm still unraveling stuff about myself. I'm still unraveling false beliefs that I grew up, with this notion of who I was. And I can imagine how much harder it is for people now growing up with the whole social media thing. I didn't have social media when I was a kid. I was a kid of the 90s. And I mean, we had MTV, and I mean, that was like what we thought about. And like, that was where we got our, oh, that's so cool feeling was, what was on MTV, and what beauty was in a magazine, which was, as we've all come to know, that's completely photoshopped. So it's not even it's not even real. We didn't even have realistic goals anyways. And so I grew up in that, and nowadays it's even so much more amplified, that it's like crucial to unravel that, because it's not, you aren't who anybody says you are, even your parents or your friends or your spouse or yourself. I mean, oftentimes we're the worst culprit at telling ourselves lies. We are not these things that we fear, or that we can't accept. We have the ability to love and accept everything unconditionally, but we've been programmed over time to fear these feelings and to not believe in ourselves, to judge ourselves based on somebody else that we see on Instagram. Oh well, they've got their act together, but everybody is on Instagram and on social media. It's a show. So
I really want to go into the RV thing, because like you said, you're living people's dreams, and like the dream, there's so many of these. They have millions of followers. They're super hot, like super hot couples. You know what I mean? They're young, they're hot, they have a perfect looking dog, they're living out of a van.
Yep,
like,
I see that.
Any adult knows the reality of that life.
Yeah.
It's not in that photo.
Like, it's not all glamorous.
That photo,
I mean,
like that photo took work.
It took a lot of work, and it takes a lot of filters and editing. And
even if they say no filter, like here I am eating my acai bowl, and here's the beautiful rocks of Arizona. But guess what? You still had to put gas in your car. You still had to deal with finding a place to dig a hole and go take a poop because you're living in a van and the van doesn't have a toilet. And, you don't have a fancy RV. You haven't worked for 10 years. That's something else I want to go back and kind of like backpedal on the age thing. Something I've learned. So I'm 30, and I was always afraid of getting older as well. And like, now that I've been a personal trainer for 9 years, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, age comes with it. Like, I couldn't have those 9 years without growing older and
Yeah.
having that experience. And like 9 years of being a personal trainer means so much more than a super hot 21-year-old who just got their certification and
I
is just
know.
teaching you how to
Yeah.
be and has a perfectly fit body.
Right.
It's like, yeah, that's because you're 21 and
Yeah.
you didn't go through your life, but
It's so true. It's so true. I think that that's the thing that people don't realize is it's easy to show the good parts on social media, and it's almost detrimental to young people growing up with this notion that it's real, or that's what success is, or that's that. I mean, when we travel in our RV, yes, we have a toilet, we have a kitchen, we have a shower, we have all this stuff. What you don't see is, my husband going out and dumping the black tank at a place, and it's 50 pounds of human waste coming out of a pipe. That's not the glamorous part that they're going to show you on, or when your hose gets a leak and that crap goes out everywhere. That's what they're not going to show you. I mean, we've had so many.
The reality of like getting a flat tire on something like that, how much harder it is to change a tire on a van, on an RV, on any vehicle, in the middle of the freeway. How do you get that car over? It's not a Honda Civic. Like,
we had the first time we went into Utah, we were driving to Monument Valley and we got a flat tire. And right where we were, literally in the middle of nowhere, we had no cell service and no Wi-Fi, and we couldn't call for help. We didn't have the right tool to get the tire off.
Oh God.
So, of course, for a moment, I kind of had a sheer panic kind of moment. But then, knowing that, the universe always takes care of you, we actually had two different people that pulled up to help us. And each person had a separate tool that we needed. Like this one had this one and this one had this one.
Of course. When you have faith, that's exactly, I love that you went into that. Because when you say, okay, thank the universe for this challenge today. Thanks for the shit show.
Yeah.
What a surprise. Wow. Every day's kind of been the same lately. I've been kind of bored. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving me that surprise
and
today.
Thanks for showing me. Yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity to see that you're always going to take care of me, and it's going to be beautiful every way. And we've had that the whole time. I mean, we've had flat tires. We had a tire blowout on the interstate in Louisiana. We had an awning. Our awning fly open as we're going 70 miles an hour down the road two times. We've had so many different things, and you're not going to see that on somebody's travel page on Instagram.
Yeah, and that's not going to be caught live. That's not going to be caught on camera. There's no camera out on the edge of it. Where there's no camera stationed on the. So people have kids grow up with an altered view. It's like the Truman Show.
Oh yes,
the movie,
I know.
The Truman Show.
About that
they grow up with this altered view of the universe. And then we're all living a lie, because I grew up in the lie as well.
Me too.
And then we had to uncover lie after year. And then you're like, as a teenager, you're angry because you're like, I know something's not right, but I can't figure it out.
Yeah,
once you get older, you're like, oh, wait, so people don't follow laws? Like, laws are just there to steer us in certain directions, but you don't actually have to follow them. Like, all of these things start to unfold, and like all these loopholes. Like, oh wait, so college is a business; it's not mandatory.
Yeah.
And like,
oh, so much. I mean, and some of us have like even more to unravel depending on what we were born into, and I think
that's every generation.
It's what's so crucial about it is asking the questions. Why is it like this, or why do I feel this way? Why do I think that? Because why is always going to take you to some sort of resolve. You're either going to find out that that's a limiting belief that you're believing, or you're going to find out that that is true, and either way you're going to follow a path that's going to lead you somewhere better. And I think that's what's so beautiful about it, is that so many more people like yourself are starting to ask the questions why, and we want to know, we want to understand. Wait a second. So I didn't have to do all of this, or what my mom told me about doing this wasn't right, or like I grew up in an extremely religious home, so I was always
Right.
afraid that I was going to go to hell and all this crazy stuff. And it's like, pulling apart all these things and these myths and these ideas about life that maybe served somebody
Yeah.
else but doesn't serve you. I think that's the crucial point, to find happiness, and it's always inside of
Crazy.
you. It's never
We're just
outside of
like,
you.
we're really living in this world created in our mind. Like it's
Yeah.
really all in your head.
Yeah.
And like people wonder like how does that person become free?
Yeah.
Because I've been freeing my spirit. I've always been, so I grew up as like a latchkey kid. My parents were like off doing their own thing, so I always had to discipline myself. So for
Yeah.
year after year, I was disciplining
Yeah.
myself. And then now I'm like, wait a minute, you don't need that discipline. You have
Yeah.
it. It's okay. You know that you can wake up on time and get to work. You know that you can pay your bills. It's okay. You can be free. Like I'm starting to like take off
Yeah.
all these seatbelts and these cautionary things that I put on myself.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah, we
so
do that too.
one of them happened yesterday. So I haven't seen my mom in like a year or two because, COVID happened and like all this stuff. I was sick. She was sick. So like she has an autoimmune disease. I have autoimmune disease. So we haven't been able to see each other and be healthy and happy. So yesterday we came together. Thank the Lord and the source. I mean, whatever you believe in.
Yeah.
And we painted together. And I
Oh,
realized in that moment that my vulnerability was tied to my creativity.
wow.
And so I was just like, at first I was stuck. I had this white page and I
Yeah.
always get stuck with the white page. And I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. We had all the paints, markers, colors, glitter, stencils, just everything out. And I'm just like, I'm overwhelmed. Like, I don't know what to do. And then she starts and she goes, well, what I'm going to get at, and she just starts her process. And she says, she picks up all the paintbrushes and she starts feeling them. And she's like, I'm going to feel what I like. And then what my body says, like, this is what I want to paint with. And then she says, I'm going to feel what I'm called to, what colors are saying, this is what I want to today. And I was like, wow, that's so intuitive. And I was like overthinking it, like how to paint, how to like apply the color, mix the color, or make a specific color, right?
Sorry, my dog is acting up. I apologize.
Yeah, I was like, do you need a moment?
Sorry about that. Our dog, we have a 12-year-old blind Shorkie. She's a Shih Tzu Yorkie, and
Okay.
she just started having a moment, so he took her outside.
Is he okay?
Sorry.
Is she okay?
She's fine. She's fine. She just, she's so much older now that when she's got to go, she's got to go. So she generally doesn't like to get close to the door because there's stairs, and she's fallen down them before. She's totally blind.
She's blind.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. What a crazy experience it is for her to be traveling all the time. She's never in the same place, when we take her outside.
That is so insane. Yeah, because like
Yeah.
I walk a blind dog, and he knows his trail.
Yeah.
Blind people usually have a routine.
Stick
they
to
have
the
a
same
schedule.
thing. Yeah.
So she knows
we're
the
mixing
RV.
it up for her. Yeah.
She knows
She
the
knows
RV.
the RV. She does.
So
know
she feels
the RV.
safe in there.
She does. Yeah. And if she's ever if we take her to my parents' house or something, she knows it a little bit, but she'll always line herself up against a wall as to be safe, so she's
to be
not
the guide.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. And she'll be like, at least I know I'm okay. I'm by a wall. I'm okay, but I apologize. Go ahead. Finish what you were saying about your mom and the painting.
So she was using her intuition, and I think that I was trying to overthink my creativity.
Absolutely.
I was trying to think myself into the creative space. And I was like, well, how do you do this? And I was watching these videos, and I was talking to my friend, and who's also going to be on the podcast in like next week or something. And we're going to paint together on the podcast.
I love
and she's going to teach me her technique. But I was trying to do it, and I was like, man, like, it was like creativity. My mom was saying, no, it comes from your heart. It comes from your soul. It doesn't come from your head.
Wow.
You have to just just let go. And I was like, oh, well, I think that for so many years, I haven't been a creative person. I've always been book smart and intellectual
Yeah,
and like
very
that kind of
logical. Yeah.
defining myself as that person. Like, oh, I'm not creative. That's like my boyfriend thing, you know?
Yeah.
And so then when I started doing it, I was like, oh, everybody is creative.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody has this inside of them. They
Yeah.
just have the same fear of like, I don't want to show you what's inside of me because it's darker than I want to express. It's words that I can't use. It's images that I can't even draw, but they're gonna come out like in some sort of way.
Yeah, always. Yeah, I think that's so beautiful, and so important for people to hear that, because people tend to want to label themselves or box themselves into these: I'm creative, or I'm logical, I'm smart, or I'm this, instead of
Yeah.
understanding that you are everything all at one time, and you can tap
Yeah.
into these other abilities and things. And I think, for us, it's like, everyone in my family, and I mean like my husband and my children, we're all very creative people, and so that comes easy for us. And I think it's important for people to know that when it doesn't come easy for you, it's not a reflection of you. It's not that it's not in you. It's maybe you're overthinking it, or maybe you're letting fear stop you, you know?
Yeah. I was blocking it.
Yeah.
I felt like almost like before you cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're like, I don't want, it's like, it's pressure. It's like, I
Yeah.
don't want to let this open because if I do, I'm afraid to see what comes out. And
Yeah.
you're here with me and you're going to see. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so like
Yeah.
whoever you're with, you need to feel comfortable with. Luckily, I was with my mom.
Yes. Yes. How
The safest
beautiful.
person. Well,
How
not
beautiful.
everyone's safe with their mom.
That's true.
Not
So
There's so
true.
many people who are not safe with their mom, who they have to button up, they have to be perfect. There are many
Yep.
moms who say like da da da, but like literally her mom is that way.
Yeah.
My grandmother
Yeah.
is that way, where
Yeah.
she'll be like, oh, there's dust on the floor or whatever, like from your, and we were like, we were painting yesterday, yeah, so what, so she's
Yeah.
like the opposite, but for a reason, right? She's also the opposite of that because she didn't like it. She didn't like being so pinned up her whole life. She wanted to just be this free, creative, loving, comfortable spirit.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, that tends to happen so much. We tend to see the things that we don't want, very easily. And and
Yeah.
then in an exchange as parents, we tend to go the opposite way. We tend to say, well, wow, I don't want to end up being like that, or no parent is ever perfect, ever. But the most important thing we can do, I mean, it sounds like your mom is very in tune with herself, which then allows her to guide you even better and love you even more. And I think,
Yeah.
again, like tuning into ourselves is really, I think that's the newest movement in the universe, is we are all starting to tune back in and look inside of ourselves and say, wow, maybe everything wasn't what I thought. Maybe my worth isn't in success and titles. Maybe I'm just worthy because I'm here. Maybe I'm just worthy because I'm
Yeah.
and then that, can you imagine what sort of love movement that's going to create when all of us love ourselves?
That is really important, is to know that
Yeah.
you're worthy just for being here.
Just for being
Not
here. We're here.
Yeah,
Yes.
you are worthy. Like it's
Yeah.
okay that you didn't graduate high school, you didn't graduate college, you didn't, you don't even know English. Like
Yeah.
it's okay if you
All of
can't
that.
do math. Like
Yeah.
everything is okay, because I feel that everyone, no matter what, has love in their heart. They have good intention. Even like even if you've done, you can imagine, like done the worst things in your life, you can still redeem yourself. You can still come back from a place
Oh
of
yeah.
light.
Yeah.
I feel like some people feel like, oh, well, I'm 65. I've gone too far. Like, I've lived this life. Like, this is just who I am.
Yeah.
And then they just are so stubborn. They put it down. But I feel like no matter what, no matter how many years it's been, even if you're going to pass away tomorrow and you've lived 9,000 years in the dark, you can still choose to be light. You can still choose love
Always.
over fear.
Always. I think that's
It's
so
always,
important.
we're always there for you. That option is
Yes.
always open.
I think it's so important because that happens so much as people get older, as they think, well, I can't change my life now. I'm in my 40s. I'm in my 50s. My husband just turned 50 in May, and he's constantly trying new things and doing things, but he's just of that mindset. But there are people that we know that are like, oh, nope, I can't. Why would I even try to, you know, go to a dance class when I'm 50 years old,
Yes.
even though my lifelong dream
Yes.
was to dance? And it's like, I just tell
Yes.
people, you have these desires, do them. Age is not a factor. The fear is a factor. And that fear has obviously been with you this whole time. Otherwise, you would have done it already. So
I know. It's like you had that fear since you were 5 years old, like
yes.
to get in front of people and just wiggle your body,
Yes.
like, or be a
Pull that
ballerina or
string,
whatever it was.
whatever that is that's holding you back, pull that string, shred it, throw it out, and reinvent yourself. Age is not a factor at all. I think some of the most amazing transformations I've seen and personally are people over the age of 40, over the age of 50, because again, like we talked about, like sacrificing their life for their children and then coming to realize their children are older now. Who are they? What are we going to do? All of a sudden you have this endless wisdom that you've gained over these years and opportunity to create the life that you want. And I think it's almost easier the older you are to transform your life if you want to, because again, like I said, you're carrying that wisdom of experience with you. And if you can just get past those mental hurdles of all the reasons why it won't happen, and only focus on why should it happen? It should happen because I want it, and I'm gonna make it happen, and just focusing on the positive aspects of yourself. You're worthy, you're loved, you are a creator, so why not create the life that you want?
Do you work with older women? Like, are you a coach or consultant?
I do.
Because there's some people, because I'm a consultant, I work with these women to like help them do this thing, go through this journey. But some of them, I feel like maybe I can't break through, or like maybe we're too close.
Yeah.
You know how some people, they're like, oh, well, you know me too much. Like they don't feel safe. They have an idea of whoever you are. So could I send them to you to say, hey, maybe Angie can help you?
Absolutely. Yes. I one of my
help you unravel, because you don't feel safe enough to unravel in this space. So maybe you can make them feel
and I think
safe,
it's important for them to understand too that just talking to people that have been there and done it, I mean, I am a 42-year-old mom, and I know the sacrifices, I know the hardships, I know this, and this time last year, I was like in the process of reinventing myself also, because I had health issues myself, and I had a goal set in my mind of what I wanted to achieve physically for myself. And I was able to transform myself in a very short amount of time. But, the work started in my mind first, and then I took inspired action that followed it. And I lost about 45 pounds in a short amount of time through nutrition and exercise, and basically caring about myself. I cared for myself.
Commitment.
Yeah, I cared for myself.
You decided, you committed, and you did what it took, and it got the result.
It worked out. I'm in the best shape of my life, and I wasn't so I carry that with me as the hopes that other women in their 40s or 50s will be able to understand that age is not a factor. We can choose ourselves. We can choose. It's okay to choose yourself. It doesn't make you a bad person. It actually makes you a powerful person when you choose yourself, because then you will have that strength to love other people a little bit more clearly and definitely when you've taken the time to love yourself.
Well, Angie, I think that is a perfect place to end it. I want you to shout out any way that we can get in contact with you, okay? Because this is going to be on YouTube, so I want you to tell everyone, how do they get in contact with you? And then we'll drop the links below as well.
Oh, definitely. I have a website, so it's angealex.com, and it's ANGEALEX. You can go there and check out the books and things like that. I'm on Amazon. My books are on Amazon too. I'm on Instagram at the Ange Alex. Also, Facebook and Twitter is the Ange Alex as well. And I love to meet new people. I love to chit chat. I love to help people. So if anybody you know that needs a little bit of encouragement to pull those strings, that is what I'm here for. And I'd love to talk to anybody that needs the encouragement, for sure. I always tell people I'm not in the helping self-help industry, because you're not broken. If you need help, that implies that you're broken. You're not broken. You just need a little encouragement, and that's what I'm here to do. I'm the encourager.
Well, thank you for the encouragement today.
Yes, I've had so much fun.
I know. I feel like we literally just met in the past hour, and I just feel like I already know you.
I do too. I think it's so fun. I'm so glad that
we're soul sisters. We connected.
Yes, I'm so glad we connected. I look forward to keeping in touch with you.
Yeah, I wanna obviously you're not one of those content people, so I can't just watch a video of your life every day. But we will keep in contact. I'll ask you how you're doing, how your kids are doing, how your little dog is doing. What's her name?
Her name's Alina.
The dog's name's Alina?
Oh, I thought you said my daughter. No, Olive. Oh. Olive's the dog.
Oh, I was like, wow. Alina. Yeah, that's a great daughter's name. And then the dog's name's Olive. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I have so part of my, herbal company, holistic company and stuff started because I saved my dog's life from cancer, and she had really bad arthritis as well. And and she was diagnosed at 12, and she was only given 3 months to live. And then we helped her with herbs and holistic lifestyle, all this stuff. And she was able to live 33 months to 15 years. But since you have an elderly dog, I have this place in my heart for all these elderly dogs, no matter what they're going through, and to help them just have the best quality of life, because we're living our best quality of life. And I know that she's traveling with you. I know she's already having a very high quality of life. But if you want, I would love to also send you my website, send you the Better Pet Relief to see if she could use any anti-inflammation, anti-aging, help with her brain or anything like that.
Yeah, I'd love to. Send me all that information, and I will. When this is up too, I'll share it, and I'll share your information too.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, big hugs. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Lots of love to all of you. This is the Sustainable Happiness Podcast. This is how you stay sustainably happy, find your joy, find your passion, and the Ange Alex, ANGE Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.